Hello, welcome to Clash of the Rams, the sports talk show. I'm your host, Jeremy Hayes, and along with me we have Jared Doherty.
Hello.
And Daveson Perez.
And I would like to point out Jeremy's attire for the day. Purple and black, Ravens colors, when he went for the 49ers last year. Well,
Yesterday.
Last show.
It felt like it was a year ago. But seriously, Super Bowl yesterday, Baltimore Ravens, Super Bowl champions. Ray Lewis, number 2, Flacco, his first one, and MVP. So guys, it was a great game. We had power outages, Beyonce, a boring first half, Hall of Famers there. What do you guys think about the game last night? Jared?
I don't want last night's Super Bowl to be mistaken for Ray Lewis's last game. I don't want it to be overhyped as Ray Lewis's last game. More important, I think it was Joe Flacco's first Super Bowl victory, and I think he outshined Ray Lewis in all aspects of the game. I want people to remember Joe Flacco, not Ray Lewis's last game.
Oh,
I mean, Joe Flacco played tremendous that game. He played tremendous his whole, the end of the regular season and moving on into the playoffs. He's just been phenomenal. 11 touchdowns, no interceptions. And he's really just been stepping into his role as quarterback finally, ever since they gave him the reins. Because before the offense used to run through Ray Rice.
Yeah.
And they actually confided in him and trusted him with leading the team to a victory, which obviously he did in that 34-31 victory against the 49ers. And I just think he did a great job in hooking up with all of his receivers. Bolden did a phenomenal job with his routes and things of that nature.
Torrey Smith did all right.
Torrey Smith was covered most of the game.
Yeah.
They've made it a point. The 49ers defense made it a point in, focusing directly on him. So he wasn't really much of a factor. But, of course, Joe Flacco played great first half with those 3 touchdowns.
I thought the first half he played phenomenal, but they really tailed off towards the second half. It was completely 49ers over the Ravens.
Me personally, I wouldn't put the blame on Flacco for being, kind of flat, because he was making passes. I feel that it was more of offensive blunders with like the fumble with Ray Rice and those kind of things were kind of what more or less made it a slower game in the second half.
All right, can I step in for a second? We're talking about Flacco's phenomenal game, Ray Lewis, kind of showing up. I think I'm the only one, compared to other Super Bowl performances, of course Flacco was the best in the game. I'll give him that. He was MVP. But he wasn't like an outstanding game by Flacco. He played all right. He had a lot of lucky plays, if anybody says otherwise. I mean, come on.
Plays. Name one.
Him jacking it up to Anquan Bolden when he was running on the sideline. And he caught it going out of bounds. A lot of his passes were wide open passes.
You gotta credit him for actually having the presence of mind of leaving the pocket and actually putting himself in a position where he can actually make that throw with more accuracy than he would have if he was in the pocket.
I definitely think he had a good game. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we're saying, Joe Flacco, phenomenal. Joe Flacco, star of a dynasty, maybe. But I don't know what he's saying that. I'm just saying, we're talking about Joe Flacco here. He might. Everybody talks about Rodgers and Brees too, quarterbacks that win Super Bowls. It's not easy to do more than once. This could be his only shot at a Super Bowl. I think the Ravens, they're getting older. They're not. They still have talent on their team. Ray Lewis isn't the whole defense. He isn't packing up and leaving. But overall, do you guys think the Ravens are still going to be contenders next year for a Super Bowl?
Absolutely. I think absolutely. I don't think they're not going to tail off.
Yeah.
They lose Ray Lewis, but who cares? Does anyone want Ray Lewis back? We are so sick of hearing anything about Ray. If you go on social media, it is all Ray Lewis is gone.
A lot of Ray Lewis fans.
I'm gonna have to disagree with that. I mean, after he came back, I mean the guy he's till yesterday's game, he's still leading everybody in tackles in the playoffs. I mean, the guy is 37. And he's registered 50-plus tackles in the playoffs, more than anybody else, of course. And then, why wouldn't you want to have him back? Yeah, I mean, the guy can still play.
I need to say something, because I talked about this the last episode, too, where Ray Lewis is probably the best linebacker. Not a lot of people are going to agree with me. They're going to think I'm crazy. I've always thought inside linebacker is the easiest position in football to record stats. That's why, like when we debate about Manti Te'o, that's why he didn't win the Heisman, because it's an easy thing to do. Ray Lewis, give me a stat that he set records for that has nothing to do with his age, because he played in the NFL for so long. So I kind of compare Ray Lewis to the Brett Favre.
He was the first linebacker in NFL history to record 40 sacks and 30 interceptions.
Exactly.
So that's one thing right there that speaks to his talent.
The reason I'm making the comparison to Brett Favre, his first 4 years were dominant. He was like one of the best linebackers ever. But now we're talking about his career as a whole. He wasn't over the top fantastic. He was a middle linebacker.
Definitely not. I mean, Brian Urlacher right now is putting up better numbers than Ray Lewis.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Patrick Willis.
But I think it's more of the whole package that comes with Ray Lewis that makes him so great. The fact that he's such an emotional leader. Everybody wants to get on him about being emotional and about crying. But at the end of the day, his teammates ride out for him, and they play with that added oomph because of Ray Lewis and that factor that he brings in.
But back to what you were asking, do we think the loss of Ray Lewis is going to really set them back, or do you think it'll just set them forward? Joe Flacco now is running in with confidence, getting a new $20 million quarterback now, the most confidence he'll ever have in his career. Do you really think the loss of Ray Lewis is really going to set them back, or do you think they even lost anything? I really don't think they have. They're losing much at all.
It's the fact they're getting older.
They're getting older, but
that's what I was going to touch on. I mean, Flacco's playing great and everything, but he's not Tom Brady. He's not Peyton Manning. He's not able to dissect defenses and make plays at the line of scrimmage that can avoid sacks and all of that. It's, for example, in the game in the Super Bowl, it was more so the offensive line protecting Joe Flacco than him actually audibling and making plays, making adjustments here and there.
Phenomenal in the playoffs,
of course,
by the way, the whole offense.
That's why I feel that the victory was more of a team victory, if anything.
Just like the Giants. Super
Exactly.
Bowl
Defense was spot on. Offensive line was protecting Flacco perfectly. Flacco responded to that help perfectly because he had 3 touchdowns and I don't know how many yards passing he had, but
over 200.
Over 200, which is pretty decent in this league. So I feel.
Yeah, as a whole, the team played exactly how they needed to, and Joe Flacco stepped up and played to his full capability, and that's why they end up winning this one.
All right, well, before we move on to our next segment, any final thoughts on the Super Bowl halftime show, the power outage, anything you want?
Well, let's just say that Flacco wasn't the only one that was hot last night. I mean, let's be serious.
Oh my
Beyonce
I know where you're
was
going with that.
phenomenally, that's not even a word, but phenomenal. And she was gorgeous. And Beyonce, my number is 617.
Okay, you know what I say. when I say Beyonce or the Black, I was saying those were events that happened. I didn't really care what you thought of Beyonce.
Oh well, I had to.
I'm sorry.
Wasn't there a little slip out too from Beyonce? I saw that online.
I didn't see anything.
There was a little sneak peek in there. I saw that online.
All right, we're gonna move on from that. I think that went the opposite direction of where I thought it was gonna go, but we're gonna move on to the NBA. Which now all that we have is NBA and hockey. So might as well start talking about some basketball right now.
Yep.
Celtics lost Toronto. Give up? No. 4-0.
And Solinger.
And Solinger. 4-0. Without Rondo, without Solinger, I believe they were 2-0.
Yeah.
But still, 4-0 without their starting point guard.
Yep.
What do you guys think about Rondo not being a factor anymore?
I personally think it's going to affect them negatively. I think the offense runs through Rondo, even though they've been playing so good without him. The Celtics, it's never been a question that they're a playoff contending team. They have the tools. They have Terry. They have Garnett. They have Pierce. They have all of these core players that with coaching Doc Rivers and everything, they're gonna be able to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. But in my opinion, they're gonna tail out in the playoffs and lose to one of those top 4 teams.
Yeah, honestly, Celtics. I'm very cutthroat with any sport. I think once a guy goes down and you have an older team, you really need to start thinking about cleaning house.
Yep.
That's why it's just so concerning, this 4-0 record, that it kind of leaves you in a spot where you don't know what you want to
works.
do. Yeah, but they were talking about today that the Clippers, who we beat actually, they're talking about wanting Garnett. And right away, like, you think, oh yeah, well, they have so many good players, I want to trade. And you look at the trade offer that they're rumored to be looking at, it would be Bledsoe and Butler, and that would be it for Garnett. So those are two. I mean, Bledsoe's starting, but that's because of Chris Paul's injury. But I mean, that's not really what you're looking for in a trade. You're looking for like a trade that will really impact your team.
Of course.
And all that you'd be doing is losing one of your big men who's really stepping up since Rondo left. So I mean, right now I'd say I'd keep him, which it's hard for me to say.
I mean, basically what I would want to happen, since they are an old team, is for a move that would be smart and that they would bring in somebody that's young, somebody that's able to get out in transition for in the future when when Rondo is running in transition, somebody that can be able to keep up with him and make those plays at the basket. So the Garnett trade, I mean, I'm really with the Clippers. I'm not. Let's just say I'm 70. Let's just say if it were to happen, I'm just 75% on it because Bledsoe is no slacker. Bledsoe is he's a hard defender and he's a good offensive player. So he'll be able to go out with Rondo in transition. So in that regard, I'm fine with it. But Butler then adds to the age thing.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. So it kind of levels out.
Exactly.
Any other thoughts besides like either with the Celtics or NBA? Like teams that you think are teams to beat right now, because we're pretty deep into the season right now. Whenever the Super Bowl happens, like it's NBA season now and hockey season. So is there a team right now that you think, man, is there a dominant team? You know what I mean?
I'm just really surprised about how good the West is playing now these days. I mean, teams like the Golden State Warriors, they're stepping up. They're above 500.
I think it's the new uniforms. They look awesome. I like them. Yeah.
Could be. But I like Stephon. I like how Stephon Curry's playing. Yeah. I like the addition of Ellis. So
yeah.
They're a team, in my opinion, to look out for.
I mean,
them and the Pacers.
I mean, nobody's mentioned Miami Heat yet. I mean, they're on 10 winning.
The Heat are in playoff. The Heat are going to be in the playoffs. I mean,
how far do you think they'll go?
How far do I think they'll go? I think they'll go to the finals again this year, but I think they'll get knocked out in the finals.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right. So no repeat.
No repeat for me. No.
All right. Well, we actually got to move on to our next topic, which we're going this way to hockey. So we haven't talked about hockey, actual games. Like there's a puck and everything. It's not a lockout anymore.
To talk about.
I know. It's unbelievable. The season started. It's a short season, so every game matters. What are your thoughts so far, particularly on the Bruins this season?
Obviously, it is so great to have hockey back and to be on the show and not talk about the lockout and hoping for it to come back. This is the first episode we're actually discussing it. So, Bruins, off to a terrific start. Like, nobody was surprised that the Bruins were going to start out slow. I think everyone suspected the Bruins are going to come out strong because they have such a young team, a motivated team, and their leaders. There's no flaws with this team by them starting out. They all know where they're supposed to be and what they're supposed to do. So, still my concern with the Bruins, people concerned right away was, would Tuukka Rask for real? Absolutely. I don't see why anyone is questioning that. How's Dougie Hamilton? He has started out phenomenal. He is playing amazing. Yeah. It looks like he's been there for years. Dougie Hamilton is exactly what they need. A puck-moving defenseman. That's what they tried doing it with Thomas Caberlet. That
didn't work
out. That
out.
experiment failed.
Yeah.
And now they have Dougie Hamilton. Thank you, Phil Kessel.
Yeah.
And so my flaw with the Bruins always has been their goal scoring. Yeah. I wish they went out in the offseason and traded for a goal scorer, which there was talks about Bobby Ryan, which would have been absolutely phenomenal. So I just feel like they are scoring goals this season right now. It's just, when watching the game, it just feels like that there's so many opportunities and nobody can put the puck in the net. And that's always been my concern with the Bruins. But right now, they're at a place where they should be.
It honestly feels like it's been the past 4 years where every year you're saying, oh, we're going to go out and get that goal scored. Then we look at our team and we're like, okay, we got defensemen, we got a couple of guys, but we didn't get that one piece we need. It seems like it happens in every sport where you need that one piece and it takes like half a decade to do for a team.
It's shocking because they haven't had a consistent 30-goal scorer since Phil Kessel. And look who we have since Phil Kessel. If you need to see the value of Phil Kessel, we now have Tyler Seguin and Dougie Hamilton.
Yeah.
That just proves how much a 30-goal scorer is so important, and Bobby Ryan could have been it. Could have been it.
But you are a Tuukka believer, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And honestly, like the Rangers' overtime loss, all that you hear are people complaining about Tuukka. It's like he played an unbelievable game.
That will be my Ram rant. I will go in detail about that specific right there. But no, there's no question in my mind that Tuukka Rask is for real. He was for real every single time he's played for us, and he's as good as Thomas. Thomas was unbelievable the other one, the Stanley Cup, but Tuukka Rask is that good.
Yeah.
All right, so since I don't know much about hockey, I basically don't know anything about hockey. I just want to ask you guys a couple questions. Like, what do you think about the Bruins making the playoffs this season?
Oh, absolutely. They're They're right now the top-ranked third best team in the league right now. They
Best in the East right now. So.
Yep.
Right.
And there's only 2 teams in the entire league, in the entire NHL, that are better than them. And the Blackhawks, they're playing phenomenal. Blackhawks are always phenomenal.
Always good, yeah.
San Jose, a little
Not
surprised.
really surprising, but a little. It's like a weird relationship where you're like, okay.
Like Patrick Marleau, Joe Thornton, like that line has been.
So, with all that being said, in that case, in sports you always have leaders on teams. So, what do both of you guys? Who do both of you guys think is going to be the key player to lead them down the stretch to the playoffs, and possibly, who knows, a Super Bowl.
Super Bowl on the ice.
Hockey, but, and a championship,
yeah. You got it if you
Okay. We're talking Bruins, right?
Well, we're talking anyway.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Any team? Okay, well, first Bruins, it always starts with the leadership. The leadership of this team, they've had the same core guys, Chara, Bergeron, Krejci. Those are their leaders right there for the Bruins.
Got it.
Honestly, I have to think about it, but maybe Stamkos. But if not, yeah, right?
Stamkos is Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay,
He is Tampa Bay.
Yeah, that's it.
Consistently, every year, he is excellent. And this year, there's no surprises. He is probably the best in the league right now.
I'm going to sound like an obvious hockey fan, but Sidney Crosby. I mean, come on. You have to mention the Penguins. The Penguins are doing fantastic again.
Probably the only name I know in hockey is Sidney Crosby.
So that's pretty
Crosby
big.
and Malkin, them together on one team is scary. And this why this year is going to be interesting, because it was Malkin last year and Crosby the years before, and then you put them together, and it's going to be a scary year once they both get going.
Yeah. And honestly, as far as things like that have surprised us this year, I want to mention the champion LA Kings. Green, their defender, goes down.
Yep.
All of a sudden, their big thing, their offense. Guess what? It hasn't shown up yet. They look like one of the worst teams in hockey right now. And I mean, I'm not saying that like they're the worst. I mean, like literally the worst team in hockey.
How about the Flyers?
Yeah, I know the Flyers too are the same
Equally as
exact
bad.
situation.
Those teams should be in the top 5, and they're not there.
They're teams that can compete with the Bruins, the Penguins, Chicago, and they just haven't shown up yet. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I don't even think LA is even in that class of the top 5. Even though they won the Stanley Cup, I still wouldn't put them.
They still weren't even that good last season.
Do you think it's because of the lockout that's happening? Maybe.
I don't know.
I think it's just them, to be honest with you. I think that's how they work. Yeah.
Jonathan Quick has not done anything like he's not on his game at all, and it's just the Kings, they're not doing good. The Flyers, I don't understand what is wrong with them at all. It's just surprising.
All right. Thank you for enlightening me on hockey.
Thank you for becoming the host for a second and trying to steal my job.
I try.
No. All right, but seriously, we're going to move on to our last segment, which is our Ram Rants. But first, I want to take a second to promote the fact that our women's basketball team is 15-5. And for the first time this year, we're going to have a live broadcast by 2 great commentators, actually. Well, maybe not great, but Ryan Chevy Chevalier, the Ram of the Year, is going to do play-by-play. And I'm going to make my debut as a commentator at color. It should be interesting. It should be fun. But they're playing against Johnson & Wales tomorrow night at 6. You can watch the live stream. We'll have it in a link below our channel, our video. So if you have, like, the views, and then Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
we're
good.
backwards here, so I can't give you people a visual of what YouTube looks like, but you're watching it right now. Okay, now we're gonna move on to our Ram rant. So here we go, Jared. You can start us off.
You mentioned it. The game against the Rangers, Tuukka Rask makes the most unbelievable saves of the year at that time. Okay, Lundqvist made a better one before that, but Tuukka Rask makes these unbelievable saves in the final 3 minutes of the game and keeps the Bruins in it. The Bruins go to overtime. First of all, that's 1 point. In a shortened season, every point you get is super important. And I just said super in a very, very... Okay, you know what I mean. Okay. Using super in a very strong sense right there. That's a very bad adjective, but I use
Super.
it. Super. Okay, so Tuukka Rask makes these unbelievable saves. They go to overtime, and then Gaborik. Andrew Ferentz bounce pass goes right through. Gaborik gets it. Gaborik, one of the most sensational players in the game, gets a breakaway on Tuukka Rask in overtime. Tuukka Rask makes the initial save, but then he swings it in and it goes in. And everyone on social media, I was on Twitter right there, and I see people just saying, I hate Tuukka Rask. Tuukka Rask sucks. Where's Tim Thomas? No. Okay, that is my problem. Tuukka Rask just saved the game and gave them a point, and you're going to call out for Tim Thomas because Tuukka Rask didn't stop a breakaway in overtime? Tuukka Rask is for real, and I don't want to hear anyone say, where's Tim Thomas anymore, because Tuukka Rask, it's Tuukka time.
Jeez. All right, I'm going to do my Ram rant, which is a bit of a weird one, but I want to talk about NFL jerseys. Seems like a weird thing to talk about, but you can buy an NFL jersey, whoever your favorite player is, NFLshop.com, $200, like $150 when it's on sale. And the NFL is complaining about knockoffs that are $20, and ESPN did a great special talking about knockoffs that were $20. They unwrapped one. The stitching was a little off, but nobody knew it was a fake jersey. So I think that's just a sign to the NFL that they're complaining about how we need to stop buying counterfeit items. They need to lower the prices. I'm not saying they need to be $20. They need to be like between 50 and 75 would be reasonable. Like if you're a dad and you're buying your kid, of course kids are a little cheaper than adults, but if you're a fan and you want to buy a jersey, you're basically paying as much as you paid for your ticket. So it's absolutely ridiculous. The NFL needs to do something about it. Just lower it a little, have some type of clearance Superbowl sale. I don't care. Whatever you want. Daveson, go ahead.
With me, I'm going to basically make a case for Ray Lewis and just plead to people to just get off his back, really. Because everywhere I go in Boston, it's just people talking about, oh, I hate Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis is too emotional. Why does he cry? Why is he praying to God? This and that. And all of these things about his past, when at the end of the day, you guys are always docking him for what happened in his past, and till now, everything that he said that he was going to do, he's done it. He has 2 Super Bowl championships. He's a Super Bowl MVP in 2000. And he's just an all-around changed man, in my opinion. I mean, everybody's gone through something in their life. Everybody's had skeletons in their closet. And, you can't hold somebody responsible for something that happened when they were 17 years younger. So I just hope that everybody, just lay off his back a little bit.
All right. Luckily, we didn't get into that too much. I think we would have had an extreme debate about that. But that was a pretty solid statement. I'll give you that. I'm not a Ray Lewis fan, but I'll give you that was pretty solid.
But you're wearing his colors, though, so it's all good.
You look great. It's all right.
I know. I look pretty good, though. Okay. Okay.
We'll leave that up to you guys. Does Jeremy look good?
A vote on it? No, we don't really have a vote for that. But you can vote for Ram of the Year. That poll is now open. You have like 50 days to do it. We usually decide in March. It could be any of us 3. It could be Ryan again. Ryan campaigned and had like 80 votes last year. So I don't even know how he pulled that off, but it should be interesting.
Probably just did himself.
So it's every computer in Suffolk. Okay, that's all we have for today, guys. So from us at Studio 73, we'll see you guys next time.